Good day, Kavibal, and welcome to our Learn at Home Facebook Live. For the discussion today, the topic will be on teaching academic skills for academic and real-world success. Before we begin, take note of the following reminders. Make sure you are registered to the webinar to have your e-certificate of participation. Visit certificate.vibalgroup.com to generate your proof of attendance. Share the video using hashtag LearnAs1PH as our official hashtag to all our Vibal webinars. Experience learning ka-Vibal! And now, to proceed with our webinar this evening, it is my pleasure to introduce to you our distinguished speaker today. Our speaker for today's Learn at Home session is an educator by profession and by heart. She has a degree in Bachelor of Secondary Education major in English and is currently completing her degree in Master of Arts in English with specialization in teaching English to speakers of other languages or TESOL. She has had the privilege of teaching elementary, high school, and college students before she assumed office as school principal and served as the accreditation and training coordinator of the Elementary School of Silliman University. Her experience with varied groups of learners has affirmed her belief that teachers should first get to know their learners in order to create an engaging and effective teaching learning environment. She constantly pursues professional development, particularly in the areas of pedagogy, leadership, and personal management. She considers speaking and sharing with fellow educators her passion project and is grateful for every opportunity to impart and contribute to the academy. Ladies and gentlemen, let us all welcome Ms. Dubhe Estallo.
Good evening, fellow educators, and welcome to this Learn at Home session with Vibal. Happy Friday, everyone. I am your fellow educator, Dubhe Flores Estallo, and I shall be talking to you about a topic that we are very much familiar with. This evening, we're going to revisit how we do teaching of academic skills, and we're going to learn and relearn how to maximize the teaching of these skills to optimize our students' learning. So, without further ado, allow me to share my screen as we start our Learn at Home session for tonight. Okay, I believe you are already seeing my screen, and let me just get to sharing my slides. Okay, okay. Our evening session is entitled Teaching Academic Skills for Academic and Real World Success. Now, what exactly are academic skills? We'll get started immediately by defining what academic skills are. Academic skills are actually a combination of the abilities, strategies, competencies, and even habits that can help our learners succeed in an academic setting. But not just that, academic skills are not made to be useful only in school, but these actually can help our students throughout their lives in the real world context. Why are these academic skills very important? The following are the reasons. First, academic skills improves one's ability to learn and complete tasks. These also help increase productivity and success in school. Academic skills likewise enhance interpersonal relationships, and they are highly transferable to future careers and real world contexts. So, academic skills do not just benefit our students in the classroom, but they also continue to benefit from learning these skills because these are very much transferable to their future careers. And when we say future careers, we don't just mean employment, but we also mean creating businesses and even in real world day to day situations. So let's find out more about academic skills and how best to teach them. Now, depending on the sources that you look up, there could be as many as 12 different academic skills and as few as 3. But we would be presenting academic skills by categories. We'll be lumping together similar academic skills so that it's easier to remember and easier to get to know more about. First category is literacy, numeracy, and scientific skills. Next, we have communication skills. Third on the list are our data analysis and research skills. We also have technical and computer skills. Interpersonal skills is fifth on the list. And finally, and very important, equally important as with numbers 1 to 5, are personal or self management skills. We'll be looking very closely at each one of these, how they are used in real world contexts, and how we could better teach them for our students to learn from. First, let's talk about our literacy, numeracy, and scientific skills, which we could also refer to simply as applied academic skills. When we talk about these, we think languages, we think math, and of course, we think sciences. Okay, these literacy skills, we'll start off with the first one. Literacy skills refer to our learners' ability to speak, read, write, listen, and understand the messages that they have received or they wish to relay in order to communicate effectively. Now, pardon for this very slight typographical error. This actually just means it's the ability of our students to speak, read, write, listen, and understand the messages that they have received or have relayed in order to communicate effectively. Next, we have numeracy skills, which is basically the ability to use their mathematical knowledge and skills purposefully in order for them to carry out daily functions. Scientific skills, on the other hand, refers to or refer to learners' use of their knowledge of scientific process to identify problems, draw conclusions, and from there, solve problems based on available facts. The next category is communication skills. Apart from the ability to deliver a message in both verbal and written forms, communication skills are very important because these allow people to listen, understand, and empathize with each other. Data analysis or research skills, on the other hand, allow our students to know the questions that they want to answer and to find credible sources and use effective search strategies in order to answer questions. Okay, again, we'll be talking more about each of these categories in just a little while. Let's move forward with technical and computer skills, which are undeniably very much needed and very much important, especially at this time of the pandemic. These are a set of abilities or knowledge that our learners use to carry out practical tasks in the fields of science, technology, engineering, and the arts. We also have interpersonal skills. Obviously, these are a set of skills which are very necessary to work effectively with others. And some examples of such skills are collaboration, giving and receiving of feedback and constructive criticism, negotiation, and conflict resolution. We move forward with the last category, which is personal or self management skills. These are actually skills that our students have to master, such as time management, goal setting, self discipline, prioritization, prioritization rather, and decision making, to name a few. Now that we have already made mention of the description of the different categories of academic skills, the question that we need to answer at this point is, how are academic skills applicable in the workplace and other real world contexts? And when we say workplace, we don't just mean again employment, but also businesses. So, how will our students be able to apply these academic skills, which they will have learned in school, when they go out into the real world, when they work, when they have their own businesses, and even in their day to day living? Let's begin with the first category: literacy, numeracy, and scientific skills. Okay, they can use these skills when reading and understanding oral and written instructions, when preparing reports, when filling out forms, when computing grades, especially for those who will also end up becoming teachers just like us, when preparing the company payroll, for example, when creating a weekly budget, a family budget, a personal budget, a travel budget, for example, and in observing how work is done or how things work, as well as experimenting with various gadgets, various systems, even various products. So these are just some of the many ways by which literacy, numeracy, and scientific skills are used or transferred from the classroom to real life. Communication skills are also applied in the following: when they are asked to deliver a presentation, when conducting or even participating in meetings, when communicating with colleagues and other people at work, at home, and at the society or in society at large, when taking down notes, when reading and writing emails, memos, lesson plans, and progress reports, when writing letters, text messages, and of course, the list goes on to include even when posting or uploading materials on social media, including blogging, vlogging, when going on TikTok and the like. Data analysis or research skills are obviously very beneficial in our students' future careers and in their day to day living when they need to research for information that they need to complete a report. When they have to validate information that they have just read, heard, or seen, such as when they have to determine whether a particular news is reliable or is fake. That's a very important skill that we have to teach our students these days so they don't fall prey to just about any unreliable news. When canvassing for the cheapest price for foods and other supplies, and even when searching for job vacancies. And of course, the list still continues to expand. Technical and computer skills, on the other hand, may be used by our students when they need to create emails or respond to emails, when they have to prepare documents, spreadsheets, forms, and graphic presentations, when they need to compute grades, for example, or compute costs, when they need to automate their email replies, automate their processes, automate their systems in the office or in their businesses, even when posting in social media. All these academic skills will come in handy for our students. Now, interpersonal skills are also not to be left untaught or underemphasized because these are equally important for our students' future. They would have to learn how to work on collaborative tasks. They would also need interpersonal skills when they decide to take on careers that involve teaching, counseling, coaching, mentoring, supervising, even leading. When they need to give and receive feedback, both constructive and otherwise. When they have to get along with people at work, at home, and in the community in general. Now, personal and self management skills have to be taught to our students so that they would be able to manage themselves well and succeed in life. These personal or self-management skills include time management, which is very essential not only in school but even more essential in real life. Prioritization of tasks. There's a lot that needs to be done, and our students have to be educated on which are more important than the others, which are more urgent than the others, which can be delegated to others, and which should be altogether eliminated. They should be taught how to set goals and achieve them. Self discipline, definitely a must for a person to succeed in real life. And multitasking, because we seem to run 24 hours a day almost. And our students have to learn how to multitask if they really need to without burning their candles at both ends. Conflict resolution is also an important self management skill that our students would have to learn, as well as leadership. So, how do these academic skills contribute to real world success? We've already identified how these academic skills may be applied in careers and real world contexts, but how exactly do they contribute to real world success? It's a question that we have to answer. And our answer is explained in this infographic taken from Employment Skills, Audits, and Inventories, which shows the employability framework. So if you can see, we have here a graphic presentation that shows the criteria that employers have for determining who to hire in a given company or organization. And it is divided into three criteria. First one is applied knowledge, which basically talks about the knowledge and skills that our learners have acquired from the different subjects in class or in school. So applied academic skills, remember? Literacy, numeracy, scientific skills. The next subset of skills that is important, which fall under the applied knowledge category, are the critical thinking skills, which our students really have to hone in order for them to get employed. Next to applied knowledge are the workplace skills that employers would like to test, which include resources management, their ability to make use of resources, which includes time, supplies, and even human resources wisely, information use, communication skills, systems thinking, and technology use. And finally, the third slice of the pie is on the area on effective relationships. So they will be screened based on their interpersonal skills as well as on the personal qualities. So if you can see from this chart, it is very obvious that the things that we teach our students today are the very same things that will get them hired in the future. And not just that, even when they go into businesses, they would still need to apply these very same skills because these are the very things that they would need to get their businesses running and successful. In fact, according to Simon Sinek, who is a best selling author of many books and who is an expert in human relationships and leadership, academic skills are very much essential as well in businesses because 100% of our customers are people. 100% of employees are people. If you don't understand people, then you don't understand business. Therefore, aside from the applied academic skills, communication, personal management, and interpersonal skills will definitely be the major role players or factors that will determine whether a person gets hired or whether a person succeeds in his or her future career. And of course, that goes without saying, it also is a determinant to whether a person will succeed and survive in tackling his or her daily tasks. So the question now is, how can we teachers maximize the teaching of these academic skills in our classrooms, both in the face to face and even now in our remote classroom? It's a question that we educators would have to have ready answers for. Are we ready to find out? The following are suggestions on how we could improve our teaching of academic skills in the classroom in order to help our students succeed not only in school but also in real life. First, the first strategy is to allow our students to reflect, respond, and ask questions. Now, what exactly do we mean by these? What by this? What are the activities that we could have our students do so that they would have the opportunity to reflect, respond, and ask questions? I bulleted a handful for you. First, we could encourage our students, and please pay attention to that which is inside the parentheses. All students, including those who do not speak up much. Several times we just go on with our discussion or move forward with the class without really thinking much about those who choose not to speak up because we would think, well, if they don't like to respond, we have to give them that space that they need and we give them the respect that they want and just move forward for as long as we get answers from those who want to volunteer. But actually, there are strategies by which we could also engage these students who would rather be quiet, and that is by letting them reflect on the lesson and ask. And by asking, we don't just mean verbally, which is feasible for those who are doing online or hybrid classes, but even for those who are doing modular classes, we could have them write their questions or even list down possible and follow up questions regarding the topic or regarding the answers and views presented by their classmates. Next, if it is possible for you to do so in the case of those who are having online classes, for instance, and for those who are doing limited face-to-face pilot classes, we could allow for student-led Q&A sessions and ask students to give feedback to the teacher and feedback to other students regarding the lessons, to just voice out their opinions and express what they think about the discussion for the day. Or we could let them write or draw their reflections and insights about the lessons and activities. If we could get them to write, if we could get them to reflect, respond, and ask questions, then we would be training them to improve their communication, literacy, scientific, and interpersonal skills. Second strategy, interact with instructional materials. Okay? The key word here is interact. We teach our students to learn to question and react to what they see, what they read, what they hear, and not just be passive consumers of information so that they don't fall prey to just about anything that is dished to them. And how do we do this? We could have them answer questions about the material using information contained within the material. And I'm sure we pretty much do this all the time, right? We also should be giving them more opportunities to make inferences or hypotheses based on presented text, such as pictures. If there is a picture, we could let them talk about the picture and guess what the picture is about, what's going on in the picture. What do you think is the historical context presented in the picture? What do you think will happen to the individuals in the picture, for example? Same is true when presenting them with videos and reading materials and other texts. We could have them make inferences about the title of a given material, about the characters, and about the outcomes based on available data. From there, we could request them to draw conclusions based on the information provided. So we tickle their brains. We let them analyze. We give them opportunities to infer and hypothesize. And not just that, we should be encouraging them to question and argue, if necessary, with the points raised in the material. We don't like them to become passive. We would like them to become interactive. Above all, we'd like them to become critical thinkers. And if we do this, we are giving them the chance to sharpen their communication, literacy, scientific, numeracy, and research skills. Third strategy that we could employ is reconstruct and relay what they have learned. Could have students jot down notes of the reading or visual material that was given to the class. We could have them retell or recreate the material. So based on their notes, they are supposed to retell or recreate the material, providing as much essential information as possible. And they have to do so in various modalities. They could do it as a written summary, which is a truth, especially for those who are doing modular classes, or as a video, graphic presentation, or a Word document, etc. The point is, we allow them opportunities to reteach or restate whatever it is that they have just seen, read, or heard with a goal of recreating it because we'd like them to be able to tease out essential information. And take note that we, as much as possible, let them do it in various modalities so that we could also cater to their multiple intelligences and we could differentiate our teaching and assessment. Doing all these will teach our students communication, technical, interpersonal, and scientific skills. The fourth strategies that we could use is to let our students solve problems because solving problem is a day-to-day skill that we have to get better at. For instance, we could provide them with situations where they need to analyze and propose solutions to problems. We could present them with articles, with news, and other multimedia materials that highlight creative ways by which problems were solved. This is very important, the third bullet. We should expose our learners to success stories of various people and groups that successfully solved problems, to encourage them, to make them realize that a problem is only as great as one's ability to conceive solutions for such problems, such as we could use biographies of successful people like inventors, businessmen, leaders, and groups. And as we do so, let us not forget to also present local role models for our students to follow. Because sometimes, if we keep on presenting only foreign award winners, for example, like Pulitzer Prize winners, instead of Magsaysay awardees, then our students might think, well, that is true only for those from these and that nations, but not for Filipinos. So we have to expose them to success stories of both the local and foreign personalities and groups. And finally, to every problem, there's always a solution. So why don't we rehearse our students to think of different solutions? There's not just one solution to a problem. Oftentimes, you'll have at least two or more. So why don't we encourage them to write alternative solutions to these problems? And if possible, if you have the chance to do so, both written or in oral means, we should also let them defend their counter proposals or simply ask them, what is your solution to this problem and why? A simple question as, what is the solution or how will you solve this and why do you think this would work, will allow them and encourage them to become better problem solvers. If we do this, we are giving our students the chance to enhance their literacy, numeracy, scientific, communication, technical, and interpersonal skills. And the fifth strategy that is very much applicable in the classroom is for them to develop personal management skills. Now, we've mentioned earlier exactly what these skills are, and we could give them the chance to do that not only in our values education classes, not only in our religion classes, but in all subjects, I hope, because we should be teaching all these important self or personal management skills in every subject. We could expose them to materials that talk about the importance of personal management skills. Have them read about this or watch about this. Um, Different personal management skills will make them understand why they would have to also develop these skills. Sports or games are always a good and fun way to teach personal management skills such as self discipline and goal setting, for example. Letting our students fill out a planner or a to do list is one way by which they can keep track of their activities, plan the tasks, prioritize the tasks to do, and tick off the already done activities. And that would make them feel a sense of achievement every time they get to clear or check off a particular to do list on their task. We should also teach them how to set, and not just set, but also accomplish SMART goals. SMART to mean specific, measurable, attainable, realistic or relevant, and time bound goals. And finally, if we can, and especially if things get back to normal quite pretty soon, hopefully, then we could already give our students more opportunities to be assigned to a variety of individual and collaborative tasks that will allow them opportunities for negotiation, conflict resolution, problem solving, and leadership skills that will really benefit them a lot in the long run. These personal management skills are meant to teach interpersonal communication and research skills. Now, here are some materials that you could make use of. The first one is just an example of a planner or a to do list, which our students could make use of. So, all we need to do is maybe show them a sample tell them how it is to be done, and then remind them to make use of it as an organizational tool so that they can keep track of their activities and to do lists. This one on the right is an action plan, which in this case shows the child or the student's rather post test goal, his or her pre test score and post test score, and then these two boxes here lets the learner answer what did you show mastery of on the pre-test and on the post-test, and what do you need to work on, what helped you to become successful. This allows the student to reflect on what aided in his or her success or what kept him or her from reaching the goal. Next is an example of an academic goal planning sheet. And we can make use of this actually for not just academic goals, but all kinds of goals, health goals, travel goals, for example, family goals. And at the bottom are the SMART goals spelled out with with key questions here or guide questions here, and the various steps that the learners will have to take in order for them to reach their goal. And finally, we have a vision board. It's basically very similar to a scrapbook, wherein they paste on a piece of paper, illustration board, or even in their notebook, the different pictures that represents the accomplished goals that they have. So how would they like to be health wise? What would they like to see or have as part of their family goals? What would they like to see as part of their academic or school goals, etc.? So we could introduce these to them if we haven't done so yet, and we can even use them for ourselves if we haven't done so yet. These have been proven to be very effective according to research. Now, as a recap, we can enhance the teaching of academic skills by making our learners: one, reflect, respond, and ask questions; two, interact with instructional materials; three, reconstruct and relay what they have learned; four, solve problems; and five, develop personal management skills. Now, I would like to remind us that all that we do is in preparation of making our students ready for the real world out there. Because to succeed in our global community, our learners will have to be critical thinkers, problem solvers, innovators, communicators, collaborators, globally aware and civically engaged individuals, self directed learners, information and media literate, as well as financially and economically literate individuals. So these are actually the 21st century skills described here, and it is our task, teachers, to make sure that they acquire these 21st century skills and are ready for their careers and for the real world. And finally, let me leave you with this quote from Nelson Mandela: education is the most powerful weapon which we can use to change the world. And teachers, take heart. Our task is at times very challenging, and there's a lot on our plates, especially now at this time of the pandemic. But Proverbs chapter 16, verse 3 comforts us and reminds us that if we commit to the Lord, whatever we do, our plans will succeed, our teaching will succeed, and we will be able to bless our students by helping them prepare for their future. Having said that, I'd like to thank everyone for joining me tonight. I hope you got inspired to do better and to improve your craft. I hope that through you, other students and more students would be blessed. Thank you very much for joining me tonight, and I hope to see you again in the next. God bless.
There we have it. In behalf of Vibal Group Incorporated, I would like to thank our speaker for today for this indeed very eye-opening and insightful learning session. It is an honor to have you with us today, ma'am. And to all our Kabibal viewers, all thanks to you for your continuous patronage to all our daily learning session. Don't forget to register to get your e-certificate of participation. The link is in the caption of this webinar. We also encourage you to subscribe and watch on our official Vivo Facebook and YouTube channel. Muli, maraming salamat at magandang araw sa ating lahat. Happy weekend mga ka-Vibal!